Well, gags are plenty, and whatever next with the piano, the best of Les Dawson in 30 minutes.
Now on BBC1, Look North with Mike McCarthy and Claire Frisbee.
Is love on the rocks for the couple married by a trainee vicar?
Lottery millions for the Sheffield sandwich maker who doesn't want to loaf around.
And a trip down memory lane for Britain's favourite agony aunt.
Hello and welcome to Look North. The West Yorkshire couple whose wedding was declared illegal after being married by a trainee vicar are to separate, according to reports in today's national press. It's claimed Rodney and Shirley Earnshaw from Golker have blamed the split on unexpected pressure caused by months of upset and confusion. It's still unclear if the couple are to press ahead with a claim for compensation. Here's our West Yorkshire reporter, Phil Connell.
The couple have kept a low profile all day. Curtains at their Golker home have been drawn, with both Rodney and Shirley Earnshaw refusing to comment on reports in this morning's press. According to one national paper, the couple have now decided to separate, torn apart, it claims, by the stresses and strains of recent months. As first seen on Look North, the Earnshaws' problems began last August. Following an expensive wedding, it emerged their marriage was null and void. The stand-in vicar who conducted the service was a mere church helper who was just 18 and on work experience. Last week, though, after months of indecision by the church, it was announced that the Earnshaws were in fact legally married. If today's claims are correct, though, it seems the decision has come too late, something which marriage guidance counsellors say is hardly surprising.
They have not been able to work out the sort of things that young couples would like to work out in the first months of marriage. They've been worrying about who they are, where they are and what their status is, and that's a lot of pressure to take.
So 10 months on, the wedding which captured the nation's hearts appears to have taken a new and unexpected twist. Lawyers representing the Earnshaws have refused to confirm or deny the story and won't say if the couple's claim for compensation is still being pursued.
Give us a smile as well. That's it. Here we go, folks.
The latest twist, meanwhile, to this long-running saga has been greeted with sadness in Golker, where residents hope any possible differences between the couple can still be resolved.
Phil Connell reporting. Today's other main news is that environmentalists are claiming victory in their campaign to stop the building of a controversial bypass. The government has said it'll review plans for a new road which would take traffic away from the centre of Bingley. But that doesn't mean the scheme will be scrapped. Trudy Scanlon reports.
The Bingley Road protest camp was almost deserted today. Some of its residents away at summer solstice celebrations. News of the road review is considered a victory by the 15 campaigners who've been here for the last year. They see it as a battle won in their war against unnecessary road building.
Everyone's just sort of fingers crossed really. If it's which ones are going to be quickly reviewed and what comes out of these quick reviews, and if they decide to shelve it, so just like waiting on now for a couple of weeks, see how it goes.
Thousands of cars, lorries and buses pass through the centre of Bingley every day. It's the main route from Yorkshire to the northwest, but the congestion is said to be choking the life from the town. Businesses are being stifled and residents say noise and pollution are blighting their lives.
Look at it. It's ridiculous is this road. You can't get across it, you can't get to work, you can't get away from work. It's a nightmare.
Congestion in here, killing the town.
A lot of traffic in the morning getting here, especially if you come from Bradford or even Brook Heathcliff.
They want rid of this lot, don't they?
And it's not only pedestrians who think that sacrificing woodland and meadow is a small price to pay for the road that will bring relief to all.
2:30, you're not going to be able to move on it, it's just going to be chock-a-block. You're going to be stop-start all the way. First thing in the morning, it's just the same. Coming from Shipley, we have to go through the Skipton or up to the Dales on a road out like that. It's just, we have to get off earlier than we normally would do because of the traffic.
The local MP says the review doesn't mean the road is being shelved and could even speed up the start of work.
The fact that we're fast-tracking the Bingley scheme as one of 12 schemes across the whole country has to be a sign of the importance of this scheme. There's an overwhelming majority of people who want the road built and wanted it built yesterday. Actually, it was promised a lot longer ago, and really it's time it was completed. £18 million has been spent on it already, and it would be a shame to waste that investment.
The outcome of the review will be known next month. Meanwhile, traffic will continue to pass slowly through Bingley, and the anti-road protesters, well, they're staying put.
Trudy Scanlon reporting. Later on Look North, we meet a man with a mission.
Yes, and some might say it's mission impossible, because here's the man charged with revitalising British Rugby League and ending our hammerings at the hands of the Aussies. But first, in an attempt to get you out of your car, a Yorkshire company has launched a new style of bus that they say will make you want to use public transport. The Sheffield-based mainline company has spent £10,000 on a year-long project to discover exactly what will make commuters leave their cars at home. Here's our transport correspondent, Alan Whitehouse.
No one builds buses like this one, so the Sheffield-based mainline company has spent £10,000 creating its own. It's had 21 major improvements. Seats have been taken out to make more legroom, and there's a standing area complete with radio listening posts. The company's converting a fleet of 13 to upgrade one complete route as a test bed.
I think there's a national intention now to try and get motorists out of their cars for the optional journeys. And if we can persuade people to mix and match their travel between private cars and public transport, then we will achieve a very great reduction in traffic on the roads.
New timetables will mean more buses, and a late service that'll still be running after the pubs have closed. Mainline say it'll be almost as good as having a car. For the last 10 years, the bus industry's been beset by a down market image. A poor quality way of getting around that people only use because they have to. Everyone from the government downwards says that's now got to change, and that means creating quality buses that are every bit as comfortable as the family saloon. But people living along the route will take some convincing.
You get in your car at home and you get to where you want to go, and you don't have to wait for a bus, you don't have to walk from the bus stop to where you want to go. It's convenient.
I wouldn't do it voluntarily, I don't think, no. Because it's more convenient to have the car, because I know I used to get the bus quite a lot before I got the car. I was waiting there 20 minutes, half an hour sometimes, and it's just not convenient when you've got somewhere to go in town.
Experts say when car drivers get a chance to try high-quality buses, they're often hooked.
Other trials around the country have clearly demonstrated that given the right quality product, passengers do respond, and non-users come back to the buses in large numbers.
If Mainline have got it right, passenger numbers will be up by 10% within 6 months, and the number of complaints will have gone down.
A North Yorkshire inventor has come up with an idea that could help save lives. It's an alarm system that monitors elderly and confused patients and reduces the risk of them falling. The device is proving so useful that doctors abroad have started ordering them. This report from Kathy Killick.
Elderly people, particularly those recovering from illnesses, are susceptible to falls, and in nearly 5% of cases, serious injury or even death is the result. So a new device has been invented to reduce the risk of falls. When the patient tries to get up, an alarm sounds, calling a nurse for help. The device lies under the mattress and prevents confused patients having to be strapped into bed or even kept drowsy with medication.
It doesn't restrain the patient in any way. It maintains their personal dignity, but still allows the nursing staff to monitor them and make sure they're safe.
The sensor is the high-tech brainchild of Alan and Madeline Hall-Jackson. Since the 70s, they've worked in the fast-developing field of fibre optics, and the bed sensor is the latest in a long line of bright ideas.
We all want our privacy and our independence, and I think particularly when we are in either a nursing home or we're in a hospital situation, it acts as a spontaneous call for assistance to the point of mobility.
The sensor's already proving a great success, and there's now interest in it from abroad. It can't eliminate falls, but it effectively gives nurses eyes in the back of their heads, and it ensures patients have care when they need it, while giving them privacy when they don't.
Kathy Killick reporting. The funeral of a teenager who died while awaiting a heart transplant in Sheffield has taken place today. A nationwide appeal was made by the family of Simon Woolhouse for a donor, but no one was found. His death led to more calls for people to offer organs for transplant.
Police investigating the death of a teenager at Fantasy Island in Inglemells are looking for 2 people from Grimsby who may have supplied him with drugs. 17-year-old John Mark Wainwright collapsed during a rave at the zoo club. It prompted the club's owners to announce its closure.
Hospitals in Scunthorpe and Grimsby could be scaled down to big clinics in a bid to save money. The plans have been discussed at the biggest ever public consultation on health services south of the Humber. The Health Authority needs to save £10 million.
Plans to redevelop the site of the former ABB carriage works in York have moved a step closer. The York Regeneration Partnership has unveiled a scheme to build 100 houses and create 2 acres of public open space. The consortium behind the project says it'll now be submitted for planning approval. Still ahead on tonight's Look North, a woman who's won £1 million on the lottery but won't give up her job.
And all pulling together, the Yorkshire oarswomen aiming to make a splash among the toffs at Henley. And tea for 2, a heart-to-heart with the Queen of Agony Aunts. But first, winning the lottery is a dream few of us will realise. But when you think about it, I bet you've often asked yourself whether you'd pack in work.
How about you, Claire? Would you pack in?
Well, I don't know. I've only been in the job 5 days.
I'll ask you next week. Anyway, a Sheffield sandwich maker has won £1.25 million on the midweek lottery draw. And Elizabeth Marshall says she'll be changing her house and her car, but not her job. Here's our South Yorkshire reporter, Tom Ingle.
Will it be a life on the ocean wave for Elizabeth Marshall and her daughter? She can certainly afford a cruise or 2 after Camelot's golden finger of fortune descended on her on Wednesday. The 7-figure jackpot win is unlikely to change her life, though. In her own words, she's a laid-back Virgo, and as she faced the press with her daughter, the baguette filler from Norfolk Park was playing it cool.
I phoned my auntie up, asked her to check these numbers, for her to read them to me to read them by. And then I realised I got 6 numbers and I'd won a few bob. It's like being in a dream. Unbelievable.
I'm really glad because she won't have to worry anymore and things, and she deserves it.
The only investments planned are a new house and a car each for son and daughter. But at 39, Liz says she's too young to retire, so she won't be abandoning those baguettes. After all, the shop where she works on Sheffield Station does have a rather appropriate name.
She's a very nice lady, yeah, she's brilliant, part of the team. She's very helpful as well.
Do you think that's why she wants to stay on?
Yeah, I do, yeah. She'll not leave. We're all a friendly bunch down here.
But Liz wasn't at work this afternoon. Rather happily, she already had next week booked off, so she'll have plenty of time to carefully consider the options. Now, over lunch, I've been pondering what Liz might choose to do with her personal fortune. And if she's determined to stay in the baguette business, well, she could probably afford to buy out the entire UK industry. According to my calculations, £1.25 million these days gets you 780,000 baguettes. Now, that's what I call a lot of bread.
And I bet he could spend it for her. Well, sport now. And Damien, what's happening with our rugby then?
I don't know, they're not doing very well. 2 wins so far in the World Club Championships. The Aussies are dominating the competition. The man in charge of raising playing standards after the humiliation of the World Club Championship says the game in this country is 8 years behind Rugby League Down Under. Joe Lydon's been asked to assess how the British game can improve. His initial impressions suggest a great deal of hard work lies ahead. Joe Lydon was an interested spectator as the Australian outfit, the Hunter Mariners, went through their training drills this week. As a former Great Britain international, Lydon played at the highest level. Now as technical director of the Rugby League, he's ideally placed to assess the weaknesses of the British game. After the drubbings meted out by the Aussies in the World Club Championships, he has a stark analysis.
If you're looking for a time frame, I'd probably say in the next 6 to 8 years we'll be looking to really be on top. I think we're there already at international level because we have enough players to compete and enough players to form a very, very good international team and squad. But once you get outside that squad, I'm sure it would be true to say that the Southern Hemisphere could probably put 3 squads together, all of equal consistency and quality, where we could only put 1 out.
15 years ago, Australia crushed Great Britain in an international test series with an awesome display of skill, pace and power. Mal Meninga's try in the first test was seen as a wake-up call for the British game, as he brushed aside the hard man of the British team, Les Dill.
Just watching what he does to Les Dill, and Les Dill's a big lad. He knocks him off as though he's a fly on the wall. Watch this, he must be like a mobile tank coming down here, trying each scoring, and he's got a lot of pace. What a very good try indeed.
Now a restaurateur in Bridlington, Dill remembers the match vividly. He believes the game in this country failed to heed the lessons of 1982 by not raising standards sufficiently at club level.
The lesson to be learned was that they were so far superior to us. Prior to that first game, the answer seemed to be for us to train very, very hard for 3 months intense training. Now that proved that that wasn't the answer. They have a far more intense programme of games over there, and it became apparent that their domestic games are far more intense than ours.
Joe Lydon clearly has a big job ahead if Britain is to close the gap. He'll also have to ensure the next generation of potential players choose rugby league ahead of the dozens of other sports on offer. Well, there's growing speculation that the chief executive of the Rugby League, Maurice Lindsay, could be about to take a senior job in the horse racing industry. His name's being mentioned as the new chairman of the Tote. Lindsay's emerged as firm favourite to take over from Woodrow Wyatt at the Tote, possibly as soon as next week. It'd leave the Rugby League needing to appoint a new chief executive. Hull City should have new owners by next week. The cash-starved club's expected to be taken over by a consortium which includes the chairman of Hull Sharks Rugby League club, Tim Wilby. The Leeds United striker Brian Dean's confirmed he wants to leave the club. He's likely to sign for the Dutch giants Feyenoord. Finally, Rugby Union and Yorkshire's top club Wakefield will have 10 full-time professionals next season. They've also recruited the former England second row Matt Greenwood as player coach. Well, cricket now, and play in the county championship has been badly affected by rain. Here are the scores. Yorkshire against Nottinghamshire at Trent Bridge. Nottinghamshire 148 for 7 when they finished early. In the other game, Sussex playing Derbyshire. Rain stopped play there as well. Derbyshire, in response to Sussex 200 for 9, declared 233 for 9. Now, it's the most prestigious event of the year for rowing clubs across the country. But the Women's Henley Regatta has none of the Hooray Henrys, which are synonymous with the men's event. Well, tomorrow, the City of York Club lead Yorkshire's challenge on the Thames. Derm Tanner reports.
The women who make up the York City 8 have been in training for this weekend's regatta for months. Women's Henley has none of the pims and strawberries that make the men's event a social as much as a sporting occasion. This will be the highlight of the York Club's year. Despite a bad draw, they've a strong team and all 8 of them have prepared thoroughly.
I think we've got a good chance of doing well this year. We've managed to maintain more continuity in the crew than we did last year, which is a good thing for team spirit and also for the speed of the boat.
This is the only Yorkshire team competing in the Club 8 section of this year's Henley Regatta. Although it's an all-woman team, they're actually coached by a man who admits he's got a difficult job.
The 8 women here, I would say, uncontrollable. You do your best. It's hard trying to keep them happy while they're working so hard, but you know, hopefully they've enjoyed it.
Out on the water, the team keeps up a punishing pace directed by the cocks.
The role of the cocks basically is to steer the boat and to tell the crew what to do so that everyone knows what to do and is acting on the instructions at the same time, and to keep the motivation of the crew up and high so that everyone is sort of pulling along together.
The York Women's 8 are unlikely to win at Henley, but they certainly carry Yorkshire's hopes when they race for the first time tomorrow afternoon.
And good luck to them. That's it from me. More sport in Look North Saturday at 5:30. Mike.
Thank you, Damien. Not a Hooray Henrietta in sight. Now she's known to thousands of us as the country's favourite agony aunt. But what's not so well known about her is that Claire Rayner spent the formative years of her life here in Yorkshire. But you know all that because you've been to meet her, don't you?
I did. I popped along this afternoon. Claire was evacuated to Keighley in Haworth during the wars. Well, today she returned to her roots to open the Ilkley Literature Festival. And as Mike says, I popped along to meet her.
To so-and-so with best wishes. I'm totally...
55 years ago, Veronique Chetwin, as she was then known, was sent to Yorkshire to spend the war in the comparative peace and safety of Keighley and Haworth.
But in 1939 they said to us, no, they're going to be bombing you and the bombs will come and nasty things will happen. So we're going to send you away, you're going to be evacuated. It was the first really long word I'd ever learned. I remember practicing evacuated. It sounded vaguely dirty to me, and I think the reason was we had a district nurse who used the word sometimes in a totally different way.
After spending several terrifying hours trapped under the rubble of her family home in the East End of London, her mother dispatched her to Keighley.
But it was fun. I enjoyed it. First of all, they talked so funny to me. And I learned to say, hey, gradely, and I loved it. I loved it. And I remember someone telling me once that I wore a gormless girt out, and I thought, ooh, what a lovely thing to be, you know, a gormless girt. Then I found out what it meant, but it sounded wonderful.
So what did you actually do? Because you were at school, but when you weren't at school, Claire, was there an awful lot to do in Keighley and Haworth?
No, there wasn't. I mean, there was no television. I read. I joined the library. That was one of the first things you did.
Her old school is long gone, destroyed by fire in the 60s. But today she shared her vivid memories with those far too young to remember.
The headmaster was Mr. Healy of the technical school, and he had this promising little lad who'd just got up to university called Dennis. And to this day, when I meet Dennis, we have this whole joke that we were at school together. Of course, he's a little bit older than I am. Not a lot.
Now you're here to open the Ilkley Literature Festival.
Yes, indeed.
You've written 90 books. I mean,
it's awful. It's like
a library, isn't
once
it?
you start, it's hard to stop.
You have a great affection for books, don't you?
Oh yes, books of words in a row have governed my life. Words in a row. And to my intense delight, my children are all writers too, all three of them. My husband's published 2 novels. My daughter's published 2. My younger son is about to publish his second, or it will be, it's sort of on its way. And my middle one's just started his first, so come on, they're all at it. Like knives, isn't it fun?
So it's absolutely right, you should be here to open the festival, really.
Well, words, I love the new technology, even though I'm a bit of a technocrat, you know, can't make it work. I love the new technology, it's great. Faxes and email, isn't it brilliant? Television shows, films, theatre, all wonderful. But you can't go to bed early and put your feet up when you can with television, but not the same way, not cuddled up in the book. Where would we be without books on trains, on beaches? It's just books, 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 books. I love them.
Well, Claire, thank you very much indeed for coming to talk to us and sparing the time. It's really been a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
And a very pleasant afternoon indeed. Now, the weather may not be looking too good for this weekend, and we'll have more from that from Darren in a minute, but there's plenty of opportunity to enjoy yourself without venturing outside.
Yes, this weekend's your last chance to see a magical display of some wacky inventions at Bradford's Industrial Museum. Tanya Arnold went along to see them.
Welcome to the amazing world of Roland Emmett. Many may remember these incredible machines from the 1960s children's film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Dubbed the Major Domo of dottiness, Emmett transformed his wacky cartoons, which appeared in the likes of Punch, into these creations.
It must have been just on the line of either being sane or insane, looking at some of these machines. And I don't think there's anything on it that is actually made. All these things are available to everybody that they're lying about.
Among the highlights, a golf machine with a swing many an amateur would be proud of, and they're not just here for show. The lullaby machine was a treat.
Fantastic contraptions worth a visit, even if it's not raining.
Yes, now, Darren, give us the worst news. Come on.
Yeah, it's not looking too good. It's a shame, really. We've got the Todmorden show and the Wakefield show tomorrow. It's also Midsummer's Day, but the weather's certainly not going to be doing us any favours at all. It's looking very unsettled indeed right through the whole of the weekend. Now, today we've had a band of cloud pushing up quite quickly from the southwest, bringing us some wet weather. We should get into these clearer skies during the course of tonight as that weather front moves away to the north by tomorrow. But we've still got this low pressure close by, unstable air. That means plenty of showers and rather cool. Now for this evening, it's a cloudy, cool evening to come across all parts. Still some more rain working its way up from the south. The rain, though, mostly on the light side, but it will be quite misty. It will gradually dry up from the south, that rain moving away to the north overnight, leaving us with broken cloud and a few residual showers, lighter winds, a bit misty again, and temperatures no lower than 10 Celsius.
And then for tomorrow, well, there'll be a bit of sunshine now and again, the best of it first thing in the morning, but a good deal of cloud around too. And that cloud is going to lead to a few showers in the morning, those showers tending to become more widespread and heavier in the afternoon. Possibly a rumble or two of thunder mixed in there as well. Just a glimpse of sunshine, but temperatures disappointing. The wind's generally fairly light, but a bit gusty near those showers. And temperatures no better than 15 or possibly 16 Celsius. Not really any better for Sunday either. The low pressure's still there. That means plenty of showers, possibly some longer spells of rain, and those winds will be picking up, northerly winds, and it will feel rather cold. Things start to improve into next week though. Monday we're going to find some showers around, but certainly fewer showers than over the weekend. The winds will ease off as well. There'll be a bit more sunshine. Tuesday looks quite a reasonable day. It should be dry, broken clouds, sunny spells. She'll be a bit warmer as well. Over to you, Mike.
Thanks, Darren. Bit of an improvement, maybe. Today's main national news is that William Hague has named his shadow cabinet.
Yes, the Yorkshire-born leader of the Tory party has included Cecil Parkinson and John Redwood in his team. He said Mr Parkinson would preside over major changes planned for the Conservative Party.
And I think he will combine the youth of the new leadership with the experience of politics for many years.
Well, that's it for this Friday evening.
Enjoyed your first full week presenting Look North?
I have, and they want us back on Monday, so we'll see you then. Good night.
Good night.
The Tory party skips a generation and elects a Yorkshire lad to lead them back into political contention. What now for new leader William Hague? What are his priorities? How does he heal the wounds within the party? The personal story and the party politics in north of Westminster this Sunday lunchtime on BBC2.
If you think your job's stressful,
They haven't even got a bottle of spring water. I mean, I asked it.
meet the woman who's lost the president's plane.
You don't see no sign of it in the stack yet.
Or the restaurant manager playing host to Egon Roney.
I'm pleased if Egon's pleased.
No, I'm so sorry about this, but it is awful.
Executive Stress in Airport, Thursday at 8:30 on BBC1.
No, I'm getting a no. No news. Sorry.
Will Ireland manage a place in the final? They're going to do their best in Cardiff Singer of the World on BBC2 in 15 minutes.
Join us this Saturday night in the National Lottery Live with a jackpot estimated at £8 million. And guest presenter this week, Adam Woodyard. News on the exciting Seed Bank Award by the Millennium Commission. Music from Lakeisha Berry and, of course, Mystic Meg. Tomorrow, 7:45, BBC1.
It's music from Top of the Pops in half an hour. First on BBC1, roly-poly comedy from the lovable Les Dawson.